Hello there. I hope everyone is doing great and having a fantastic week, preparing for a great weekend, perhaps. Life is good here at Tanglewood, honestly, and I've talked about this over these last weeks. We're winding down a session. That's always good. I love what we do here. It's an amazing thing. This session, we've seen several people experience monumental changes, monumental shifts in their health and vitality. And that's what happens every single session. This is the reason why after all these years, nearly 25 years in March, we'll celebrate 25 years of Tanglewood guiding people through this incredible process. This is why I keep doing it, even though it's sometimes difficult and challenging and trying and sometimes a bit thankless. But for the most part, it's not that way. I mean, we have amazing clients, for the most part, who are very grateful for the incredible shifts that occur for them. And this session is definitely no exception. What's true is that by the time we get to the end of our 10-week sessions, I'm ready for a bit of a break. And that break is about to come. It's Friday, so tomorrow morning, everybody leaves here. And leaving volunteers. I mean, not everybody. We have staff that's here full time, whether we've got clients or not. We've got about 15 people who work here permanently, and we have about 15 more working on site currently on various large projects that we are involved in. And we have 5 or 6 volunteers who live on site, and they're not going anywhere at this point, and that's okay. But my responsibility with having clients on site, I have a 5-week break. We take a break. I'm ready. It's good. I need a little bit more time. It's a bit intense sometimes. People have challenges. It's a difficult process, and I'm here for them, working about 16 to 18 hours a day, but available 24/7. And so it's nice to have a bit of a break. That break starts tomorrow. We come back with our new session on the 30th of October, and we're getting close to full. If you're interested in taking your health to an amazing new level, guaranteed, if you can follow simple directions. Now, it doesn't happen for everyone, because we have those people who refuse to follow directions. But if you can follow simple directions, you're going to see amazing things shift, because that's what always happens. And it always happens because our bodies are completely self-cleansing and self-healing. So there's nothing else we can do that's ever going to be more beneficial to you than a properly conducted, long enough fast. And this session, among other people, we have a woman here who's been following the breatharian path, has done quite a bit of dry fasting, has done various different things, and would like to think that she was pretty healthy. And she's living here with a completely different mindset, because she can feel how incredibly powerful, how much more powerful this process was, this fast, than any other fast she's ever done on her own, or than any other process she's ever done anywhere else in her more than 40 years of looking for the highest level of health and vitality. And we see the same thing happening all the time. Now, there are people who left here after 3 or 4 weeks without so much benefit. Why? They didn't do what they needed to do. Okay, and so of course it's completely up to you what you do and don't do. You don't have to do anything. You can continue doing exactly as you are. The question is, are you already experiencing the highest level of health and vitality? Do you feel as good as you want to feel every single day? Do you wake up with tons of energy, bounding out of bed, feeling great, feeling happy to be alive? Do you have mental clarity that lasts all day, every day? Because if the answer is no to any of those questions, then this is something that can definitely help you, okay? Guaranteed, unconditionally, if you can follow simple directions, because it doesn't fail. And it doesn't fail for one simple reason. Our bodies are self-cleansing and self-healing. So all we're doing here is we're providing the environment, right? The space, and the guidance to go through this process as well as possible, so that we're getting out of our amazing body's way. That's all we're trying to do. There's no magic. Fasting doesn't heal you. Your body heals itself. But that can only happen when you're not in the body's way. And most people, unfortunately, are in the body's way. That's just because they don't know what they're doing, including most of the people out there guiding other people to health. They're not as healthy as they could be themselves. We see a lot of those people here. We are often the last resort. And I mean the last resort. They try everything else. Some of them even go to True North in California, where they don't get the benefits that we get here. Not ever, okay? Because they don't fast long enough. They don't drink enough water. They don't understand hydration. They don't understand raw vegan. They try to push everyone to eat cooked food. You're exposed to Wi-Fi the entire time. You're in a city. You've got 5G beaming at you. You've got Wi-Fi in the building. You've got television screens in every room. Here, you are in nature. You are surrounded by the incredible Schumann resonance, the vibrations of nature, which are healing, which have been proven to have a huge impact on how your body feels and functions, how it heals. That doesn't happen under any other circumstances. Okay, and this is why I created Tanglewood, because I looked around 25 years ago and said, the places that exist, these are not places I'd want to go spend a month or more. Okay, maybe that's why no one fasts longer than 10 or 11 days. Not no one, some people do. But their average fast is 10 or 11 days. Our average fast here is 26 days. We have a woman here now. We've had 3 people here this session who had fasted there before. That's typical. One of them was very lean. This is one with Lyme disease, a young woman, 30-year-old, who has had issues, had trouble gaining weight, as often happens when the body is completely constipated. And she went to True North and was told, you can only fast 5 days because of her size. She fasted 15 days here, and she could have gone longer. The problem was that she didn't have more time. She had to leave because she has commitments, and so that was all the time she had to fast with the proper amount of refeeding for her body. But they said, oh, you can't do more than 5 days because of your size. Nonsense. They're more concerned about being sued than about helping people heal. Okay, so if you're ready to take your health to an amazing level, you want to figure out how to get yourself here as quickly as possible, because what we do works over and over again. Yeah, there's trolls and naysayers out there. There's people talking shit about me and Tanglewood, but you know where that's coming from, right? These are people who are envious. I mean, what we have here is paradise. It's paradise. I just showed a prospective client around. He's blown away by this place. That's what happens every time. The place is spectacularly beautiful and comfortable. We have pure water. We have clean air. We have amazingly high quality fruit, as much as possible organic. Here in Costa Rica, it's difficult. We can't guarantee organic. We don't claim that anymore. When we were in the U.S. for 9 years in the U.S., 100% organic produce, starting 25 years ago. Okay, there was no Whole Foods where I was. I mean, there was. It was a lot harder to get organic food, and it wasn't cheap. And no other healing center offered organic. Today, as far as I know, no other healing center offers exclusively organic produce. Of course, Tree of Life is gone, but Gabriel Cousins never offered 100% organic produce. True North certainly doesn't offer 100% organic produce. Okay? If you're ready to create an amazing level of health, and if you want to just check out the environment here and see how it feels and meet a whole bunch of people who've been here before, because all of my volunteers have fasted here. Let's see, there's one here who's fasted, there's 2 here who fasted once. There's one here who's fasted 3 times and is going to do her 4th in October. There's another one who's fasted twice and is going to do her 3rd in November, I forget which. There's 2 others who've done 3 fasts here each, and then a couple who've done 1. Okay, there's a reason. These are people, they come here, they don't want to leave. That happens a lot. You'd be surprised how many people have said to me, I got to go, but I don't want to leave. Like, I need to get back. I've got a life at home waiting for me. I've got commitments, but I'd really rather stay here. Okay, that's what happens. If you want to come enjoy this incredible environment that we've created here, and I say we, me and a team of people, who are committed. I mean, if you haven't been to Costa Rica, the Costa Ricans are some of the happiest, most beautiful people on the planet. And so the people working here, they're very grateful and gracious. They're happy to have a job. They're proud of their work. Again, it's amazing. If you want to enjoy that, you might want to come to our fruit festival. In fact, I'm sorry, I don't have the link handy. Let me see if I can find it, because we have our fruit festival coming up on the 19th of February. It's 1 week from the 19th to the 26th. Again, for the fruit festival, we can guarantee 100% organic produce, because we either grow it ourselves, we buy from people we know, or we buy from an organic place. And the problem is we can't do that normally because we're not buying enough quantity. We have to ship from San Jose, and it's expensive. And so it's not really feasible at this point. At some point, it will be. I mean, our plan is to go back as soon as we can to offering 100%, or I'm looking for the link here is what I'm doing, to offering 100% organic produce. But, that's going to happen when we can make it happen. You know what? I'm just going to, actually, I'm pretty sure I know what it is anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at it. I think I know the URL. We have a new website. It's tanglewoodfruitfestival.com. And I can't do it here on Instagram, but tanglewoodfruitfestival.com. It's an amazing experience, guaranteed. In addition to having 24/7, there's food available. Because I don't encourage people to eat all the time or gorge themselves. We have 3 meals and a snack every day, and it's an intimate event. You actually get to know people. I mean, I've been to festivals where I've been a speaker, and I'll meet someone and say, hey, I'll look forward to seeing you again, and then never see them again because there's so many people. That can even happen with where there's hundreds of people. Here at this point, I think we've had 35 people at the most, but it's been wonderful. You really get to know people. We have beautiful people here that show up for this event. Again, 100% organic produce. We spend a day at the highest waterfalls in Central America. That's part of our Las Cascadas project right down the road. We own that land. We'll spend a day there. We'll have lunch there. We will spend a day at what has been called the most beautiful beach in Costa Rica. Happens to be our closest beach, Playa Carrillo. We will have a couple of bonfires. We'll have live music. We'll have ecstatic dance. We'll have yoga classes every day. There'll be lectures. There'll be a permaculture lecture and tour of the grounds. Again, it's pretty nice. I mean, I'm a little biased. I admit I've designed it all myself, and had a team of people build it. But it's pretty friggin' amazing. And so if you want to come enjoy all that, this is the time to do it. The price goes up at the end of the month, each month. And so if you book now, you'll get the lowest price. Okay? You're going to want to get in while you can before the price goes up. Can you exercise during fasting? No, you cannot. You should be resting as completely as possible. I don't care what other humans say. My teacher is nature. 25 million species, that's all of them, animal species, all fast when sick enough or badly enough injured, and they lay down and don't move. And so that's what we do here, is we imitate nature, because nature has all of the answers, literally all of the answers. Okay? So you want to rest as completely as you possibly can. Hello there, Annabelle. So I didn't get a chance to say hello to everybody. Thanks so much, Bear. I appreciate that. I hope the girls well too. I appreciate your comments. Let's see. We've got a comment here from Flyer. Flyer says, hey, Loren, can you please share which European countries you have been or heard about that is outstanding among other in the EU in terms of fruit variety, as a backup plan for when the tropic ones closed? Well, I don't know about tropic ones closing. I don't think Costa Rica is ever going to close. Costa Rica depends on tourism. And so after 6 months with a closed border, they realized, okay, this is destroying people's lives here, closing, shutting down businesses permanently. And so that's ended, and Costa Rica is now one of the only countries that's open. 5 countries have been open all this last 12 months or so, and Costa Rica is one of them. I don't think that's going to change. I think people are waking up to the truth about what's going on here. in the world right now. I can't talk too much about that, but yeah, I mean, in terms of fruit quality in Europe, it's pretty much what you'd expect, right? You're going to typically find, I mean, Holland has some pretty good fruit, not because they can grow so much there, but because Rotterdam is still the largest port in the world. And so everything comes through Rotterdam. Now, of course, it's not the same as being able to go pick it fresh. In order to pick fresh fruit, you want to be in the southern European countries. And so Spain has some very good fruit. I mean, Spain is very dry, most of the country. So there are certain kinds of things that will grow very well there, including melons and apricots, figs. What else? These are some of the best things you'll find in Spain. It's not tropical, of course, but it is quite warm and really too dry for many types of fruits. They probably grow some mangoes there too, though. What else? Any of the southern countries, I'm sure there's places that grow good fruit in Greece, in Croatia, in all the southernmost former Yugoslavian countries like Montenegro, south of Croatia. You should be able to find lots. I mean, I've been there. I found very good fruit there as well. You're going to find some of the worst fruit in the most northern countries. That's just the way it is. If you go to Scandinavia, they have a very short summer. You can get apples and some other things that grow in Scandinavia, but most of the fruit there is imported from somewhere else and is picked too early to be shipped that far north. And so you're definitely not going to get the highest quality fruit in Scandinavia. I mean, I found decent quality. In any wealthy enough city, you can get decent stuff, but the best stuff, if you want to pick your own, is going to be in the south. And honestly, there's nothing like the tropics. So, if you're tired of all the BS and are ready to actually live an amazing life where, I mean, we can literally pick food. I just was out and picked some food. We can pick food every single day of the year here. We have currently about 200 varieties of fruit growing on site. And it's amazing to see. I mean, it's so rewarding to see things that we planted 3, 4, 5 years ago starting to fruit. More fruit every year. We have a member of the jackfruit family. I have a giant champadak sitting here on my kitchen counter outside here, and we'll probably share that tomorrow night with the volunteers and I. People that are living here with me. We'll share that. It's big. And we have a member of that family that has probably 50 tiny fruits on it. I suspect it's also champadak because the fruits are on the end of the branches and the jackfruits tend to grow on the trunk. Jackfruits can be 55 kilos, 110, 120 pounds, about 110 pounds actually. And so they don't grow on the ends of the branches. The branches can't support them. So this is probably a champadak. But we've got cool things happening, coming all the time. It's so exciting. It's amazing. There is nothing like fruit that you've picked yourself at the right time. I mean, there's no way to compare to the quality of the food that was picked when it was actually ready to pick instead of being picked weeks early and shipped somewhere else. And that's why I would never personally consider living anywhere except the tropics, because this is where we can get our needs met as nature intended. So Fruit Festival, TanglewoodFruitFestival.com. You're going to want to come join us if you can. And it's an amazing event, guaranteed. We have a super chat here. And this, let me scroll. I can't scroll up any further because it's the bottom one. It's M. Will. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. And the question is, have a lovely weekend, Loren. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Obviously not a question. Just a very generous $35 contribution, which I so appreciate. It really helps us to continue doing what we're doing here. Okay, and I appreciate that very much. Okay, so welcome all of you. There's lots of people joining us. Nameless one says, yeah, I ate apples from a wild tree last year. Amazing taste. Yeah, now, lots of wild apples won't taste very good, by the way. You never know. Are you aware that when you take the seeds from an apple, it could be your favorite variety of apple, every apple seed produces a new variety. Okay, just like the combination of egg and sperm from any two adults, no matter how many times that an egg and sperm come together from the same two adults, you're going to get a different offspring, right? You're not exactly the same as your siblings. That's what happens with apples and some other fruits as well. Most fruit trees produce seeds that are true to the fruit, so you're going to get exactly the same thing, but not all of them. Doesn't happen with all of them. All right, we have another super chat here. Again, I apologize. I've got to change my screen. I prefer to bring the screen forward so you're not looking so much at the ceiling, but it's hard for me at this height to read the super chat because of the angle of the screen. So I don't think so has made I don't know what A is. It's a 1 something contribution. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I don't see any comment attached to that. Thank you, Mark. It is a nice ceiling, isn't it? So I'm going to scroll. Actually, I probably need to go back the other way. I'm going to scroll back to the top here until there's another super chat. I'm going to go ahead and take questions from the top, and then I'll come over to Instagram and take some questions here. Okay, so Flyer says, hey, Loren. Oh, we already did that one. You're very welcome. Zebob says, can lymph fluid be isolated so there is a jar of pure lymph fluid? How many liters of blood and lymph fluid is there in the body? Are blood and lymph mixed together like oil and water? Okay, so I'm going to start by saying I don't remember exactly the volume of the liquid in the body. There are a lot of people saying, oh, there's 15 times as much lymph. That is absolutely not the case. It is definitely not the case. There's more blood than lymph. But let's be clear, first of all, that we're talking about the same thing, because lymph is actually blood plasma. Okay, it's the liquid from your blood, not the blood cells, but it's the liquid, the plasma, which leaks by design. It's not a problem. There's nothing broken. It leaks by design from the arteries, which are delivering blood from the heart to the cells. Some plasma leaks through the arteries into the surrounding tissue, and thereby is able to collect toxic garbage from the cells, all the toxic stuff, and then it's brought back through a system of lymphatic vessels, which ultimately go through the lymph nodes, which are all around the neck, all around the head and the neck here. There's many of them back here. We have major ones here, up here, and here, right? But they're all the way around the neck. And once they pass through those lymph nodes, which are essentially filters, the garbage is then dumped into the thoracic duct, which is a vein leading back to the heart. Okay, they go back to the heart. Why would the lymph go back to the heart? Well, it's pumped from there directly to the kidneys, which is where we filter all the garbage out. So remember, most of the toxins in the body are filtered out of the body through urine. Urine contains most of the toxins in the body that the body's working on getting rid of, which is why you don't want to drink your urine. I just had a conversation this morning with a man who told me that he was introduced to urine therapy and he had symptoms get much better while he drank his urine. When he stopped drinking his urine, the symptoms came back. Well, it sounds kind of like a drug or an herb, because toxic substances just suppress symptoms. Because of the toxicity of the remedy, the body can't do what it needs to do. This is why fasting is by far the most powerful thing you can do, because when we fast, we simply allow ourselves to get out of our amazing body's way so they can actually cleanse and heal. Okay? Whereas, in his case, it resolved nothing. Temporarily, it was great. But he had to drink his own pee, and it was only a temporary fix. It did not resolve anything. That's always the case, even with dry fasting. What we see here, when people dry fast, they come to us having dry fasted. They're the most dehydrated people on site, always. Whoever the dry fasters are, they're always incredibly dehydrated, okay? And when we rehydrate them here, which is what happens, all their symptoms come back. A dehydrated body can't detoxify, and so symptoms are suppressed. But we're not creating health that way. That's absurd. It's absurd. We don't benefit by making the body more dehydrated, and that's what happens. There's no magic. There's no, the cells convert to incinerators. That's all nonsense. Okay, it's complete nonsense. All right, we have another super chat here. This one is, let's see. I don't think so. It was I don't think. Okay, a $5, five something. I don't know what the 5 is, but the A is. But it's a 5 something contribution. Thank you. Can you identify with Tom Hanks' choices in Castaway? He couldn't live on the island's coconuts. You're the man. Bring that truth hammer down. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's Tom Hanks in Castaway. I guess the coconut water wasn't enough. The flesh. I mean, I tried once. I once headed off to an isolated beach with my girlfriend. This was 15 years ago. And we had a machete, and we thought, we'll find fruit when we get to this place. Well, there was nothing available in the little local village nearby except for imported apples and grapes, which we didn't want to eat. We wanted to eat fresh food, not stuff that had been shipped halfway around the world and been sitting in a refrigerator for a month. And so the only thing we had was wild coconuts on the beach. And for a couple days, I mean, we probably should have just drunk the water. We made the mistake of trying to eat the flesh. Now, I wasn't there, for 8-9 months, whatever it was in Castaway. We were there for just a couple days trying to live on the coconuts. We ate the flesh and quickly felt entirely overwhelmed by the fat. Okay, as most of you know, I don't encourage eating much concentrated fat. I love avocados, although even avocados you can overdo, and if you overdo it, you're creating up the problem for the body. Okay, they're good food, but they're a problem. But nuts and seeds, really better avoided. And coconut flesh is very, very concentrated. Botany says it's a fruit. It feels and tastes like a nut to me, and I think it's best left, to very little consumption. Okay, so I hope that helps. Hello there, Joanna. Nice to see you. Big love to you. I appreciate you being here. All right. And let's see, Reika Hustana says, yes, that's true. It's really hard to eat fruit in Estonia. Yeah, sure. Estonia's way up north on the Baltic. Not going to be the best quality fruit, especially when we're just a few warm months in a year playing with the idea to move, but it's complicated with 3 kids and a dog. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Of course, I mean, it's your choice, of course, but you don't necessarily have to move everyone. You got 3 kids and a dog. I mean, you could leave the kids at home and just bring the dog. No, I'm just kidding. I get it. It's complicated. It's difficult. If you're not familiar with it, I'm going to share another link here with you, and that link is lascascadas.org. Lascascadas.org. This is a non-profit, not-for-profit foundation where we are creating a massive nature preserve. I mentioned earlier the waterfalls in part of Las Cascadas. We're creating a huge nature preserve, an organic permaculture-based fruit farm. There'll be a world-class botanical garden and a vegan and a raw vegan intentional community. Some distance between them because we raw vegans don't want to smell the cooked food. Okay, so there's going to be an amazing opportunity to live in a place like this. I mean, in paradise, where we have amazing climate. Most of the year the weather is really, really nice. Even in the rainy season, it's sunny much of the time. It's beautiful. It's shorts and flip-flops pretty much all year long. That's what we do. And we can pick our food 12 months of the year. So I know it's not easy, perhaps, to move everyone, but it's entirely possible, and people do it, and you can probably do it too. And if you go to lascascadas.org, if you like what you see, message us from there, and we'll respond. I mean, I can tell you just briefly, lots are available. That we're not able to offer the lots yet to build on. It's going to probably take us a year. Hopefully within a year we'll be building there. And if not, we're going to be building temporarily on site here. We've got lots of land here on site. 15 acres with another 15 hectares with another 10 hectares coming. 15 hectares is 27 acres for the Americans. there's 10 more hectares, another 25 acres coming. And so we have plenty of space here. We're going to build a temporary community here with buildings that will bolt together. So, I mean, it won't be your permanent home. You'll pay to live in that structure. But we will then be able, once we're ready on the other side, just a couple kilometers up the road, we'll actually take those buildings apart and move them and rebuild them as tourist housing, as little cottages that tourists can rent when they come to see our waterfalls and botanical garden and zip lines and permaculture farm and organic shops and boutiques and markets and all kinds of very cool things. Check out lascascadas.org. Again, I wish I could share links here on Instagram. Unfortunately, it's something we can't do on Instagram. So let me take a question here. Hang on, let me see. Was there another super chat here? No. Okay, so let me, oh, there we go. Now there is. Ian, 444444, has made a 10-pound contribution. Thank you, and I appreciate that. And said, if you average 1,200 calls per day with 1,200 calories per day with 2 meals, that's 600 calories per meal. If first meal is watermelon, then that's about 2 kilograms. If second meal is salad, then 600 calories is a lot of lettuce. Or do you add avocado to the calories? Yeah. So I first of all, let me be clear. I do not track my caloric intake or anything else because I don't want to live in my head. I want to live in my body. Okay, I want to listen to my body. I want to eat when I'm hungry, stop when I'm satisfied, and eat what my body's telling me to eat because that's all I need to do. Like every other species, I don't want to plug it into a computer and see, oh my God, I'm not getting enough of this or that. I'm getting everything I need. Like every other species, when our bodies are clean, we don't need your friggin' iodine supplements, buddy. We don't need any of that stuff, okay? We can, like every other species, we can get virtually every single thing we need by simply eating the diet that our bodies were intended for. We definitely don't need grass powder, for God's sake. What kind of crap is that? Dried grass? I'm not drinking that, okay? We don't need to. Every species can get everything they need by eating the perfect diet that their body was intended for. The key is getting the body clean enough. So those people, and we see people all the time, who already eat optimally, but have nutritional deficiencies. How can that be if they're eating the optimal diet? Well, how can most meat eaters be B12 deficient when they're living on a diet that's loaded with B12? Well, the answer is simple. It's because their bodies don't work properly. Okay, that's the issue. And so what we need to do first is get the body working properly. We do that, we have no problem getting our needs met. I haven't taken a supplement in 29 years and don't intend to ever take one. Studies are clear that taking supplements leads to higher rates of disease. Okay, a lot of people argue with me, but there's studies that demonstrate this simple fact. Why? Because they imbalance the body. We're supposed to get our nutrients from food and sunlight, etc. Okay, not from little pills, not from anything that's been extracted from something else. We should get them naturally. All right, I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to scroll up here on Instagram and see who the first question here was. There's a lot of them. I appreciate seeing all you guys with me here. Hello there. Good to see you all. Let me try changing this. Okay. So let's see. That looks like Inona says, hey, Loren, can you please share if you know about which country? Oh, same question. I already answered that question. We're going to move on. All right. You're not taking any chances, are you? You're asking your questions on both platforms. Pretty sneaky. All right. Ramsami Chettiar. Okay. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Sorry about that if I'm not. Says, hello. I found that every time I eat fruit, monofruit, on an empty stomach, I get stomach upset for a few minutes. I searched and found that fruits are high in sucrose. Might I please know your opinion? Yeah, this has likely nothing to do with the type of sugar in fruit. In fact, fruits are a combination of sucrose and fructose. And for most people, sucrose is not a problem. It's a problem when we isolate it and eat processed sugar. But in fact, there are some people that have problems with the fructose in the fruit. But that's fairly rare and is usually something we can rectify by fasting. So it's much more likely that it's not the fact that it's the sugar in the fruit. It's that eating fruit is so easy to digest and provides such perfect water to your system that your body is able to begin cleansing and healing. That's usually what's going on. So what you want to do is figure out how to take a month out of your life. You can either come here to Costa Rica with me, or you can work with me remotely. We have an amazing remote fasting program where there's a daily group call. I'm checking to see when my next group call is. I got 20 more minutes. There's a daily group call. There's a daily email from me with a video every single day. And so it helps guide you through the process and keeps you motivated and keeps you inspired and keeps you educated. And by the end of your fast, you won't have any trouble eating fruit. Guaranteed. Okay? Guaranteed. But you need to know what you're doing. You need to do it properly. And that's why you only do this with guidance. Okay? Hope that that helps. Can a person fast who is severely underweight? Yes. I mean, the question is, how underweight are we talking about? So, to talk about a specific situation, you're going to want to message me so I know exactly what your details are. But I mentioned earlier the young woman who's fasting with us now. Well, she's going home tomorrow, but she's been here for 3 weeks. This is the woman who went to True North last year and fasted. They said she got there. She was hoping to fast for, I think, for a couple weeks. They told her she could only do 5 days because she was too lean, because they don't actually understand. And so she fasted 15 days and is today feeling better than ever. She went there with Lyme disease, with swollen lymph nodes, which have been swollen for years. Today, no swelling whatsoever. Gone. Okay, she healed, which is what happens over and over again, as long as you fast long enough and properly. So this woman is 5'5" and was 85 pounds when she got here. 85 pounds, okay, when she got here. So you can gauge for yourself. Now, if you're truly anorexic, I mean, if you are already starving, then you can't fast because you need reserves. But most people have some fat reserves even when they're very, very lean. The key is truly understanding the process, all right? And there aren't many people who really do the way that I do, because, I mean, there's no one at True North that directly supervises fasts for 25 years. The owner doesn't actually meet most of the people there, okay? He doesn't supervise fasts anymore. The people supervising fasts are there for a 6-month professional internship. They have very little experience. Okay, that's what's going on. All right. So I hope that helps you. I'll take one more here, then we're going to head over to YouTube where we have another super chat waiting. Thank you so much. I don't think so. Oh, yeah. It's another I don't think so. This one's for 10A, whatever A is. All right. Is that 10 Australian perhaps? I bet that's what it is. Okay. So Souring High says, also, can you talk about how to mentally conquer the addictions to daily eating? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, this, in normal life, we don't need to conquer the addiction to eating. Eating is what keeps us alive. We need to eat. We have digestive tracts. I'm not personally one who believes that we should be consuming nothing. We should be living on prana. We've got systems that are fully developed in order to process fruit and soft, tender leaves. Most people run into trouble not because they eat, but because they eat stuff that should have never gone into the human body. When we eat properly, there's no issue whatsoever. Okay? Now, daily addictions to specific substances, yeah. I mean, most people are addicted to all kinds of things, including bread and cheese and protein and sugar and, processed foods, et cetera, et cetera. We do that via fasting. And when you're fasting with guidance, it's not a problem. Again, I don't recommend fasting on your own, but fasting is the way to eliminate the addictions. Okay, you get the garbage out of your body, the physical substance, then there is no more addiction to that substance. Now, the emotional piece requires doing the emotional work. And a lot of the people who leave here who don't get the results, they're the ones who keep themselves distracted. They stay on their computers. They talk to people. They read all the time. They watch videos on their laptops. This makes no sense, right? There's a reason we don't have televisions. If you're replacing that by watching videos all day on your laptop, you're not helping yourself. The key is to spend your time with yourself in nature, away from technology, away from the toxic electromagnetic radiation. I mean, I've got it right here, right now, with these two devices in front of me. But it's for a purpose. It's for a benefit. And I don't spend all my time here. I spend a lot of my time here, but I still spend time in nature every single day. Probably an hour and a half this morning in the garden, okay, overseeing projects and checking out what's going on, etc. But I mean, I'm 12 months, 365 days of the year, I'm outside in nature here. And so, and even now, I mean, my door's wide open, my window's wide open. I've got air from all sides here coming at me. And so, you know, I'm never inside, like in a stuck place with stale air. It doesn't happen. There's no HVAC systems. Okay. So point is, if you fast long enough and properly, you can eliminate these issues. And if you do the work I ask you to do, emotionally, you're going to leave here a new person. If you're willing to do that work. That's the hardest part for most people. And that's the part that a lot of people aren't willing to do. Okay. All right. So don't think so's last question here. Super chat question. Thank you again for the contribution. How do you feel about hand-to-hand unarmed combat, such as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I've recently taken it up and it unleashed some very primal, emotional, life or death, being choked or joint locked, etc. Very primal emotions. Yeah. It will, won't it? No question. You know, I'm perfectly okay with learning martial arts. I mean, you know, look at you've seen films. The Asian masters at these martial arts were very calm, centered, balanced people. Okay. They didn't need to go through life in fear because they knew they could protect themselves, and they were sworn to use that art only to protect themselves or someone else, never with outward aggression towards anyone, right? You always seek to avoid violence when possible. There are maybe times where it's impossible to avoid, and so having a way to defend yourself is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm not an expert. I boxed at the Air Force Academy. Everyone, all males, box at the Air Force Academy. It wasn't something I probably would have ever chosen to do. Turned out I was actually really good at it and beat everyone in my weight class when I was there. But it's not something I really enjoy doing. In fact, I would have to get hit many times, well, a few times, before I'd be willing to start swinging. I wouldn't go in there and just swing at somebody else. I couldn't do that. That felt weird to me to hit somebody. Once they started hitting me, then it came up. Okay, now I've got to defend myself, right? And then I was able to hold my own against pretty much anyone. My last match, they had me box a guy who outweighed me by 25 or 27 pounds, which is a huge difference, right? Force is mass times velocity. So, you know, if you have a lot more muscle, a lot more mass behind you, and you go in with some speed, there's a lot of force. He kicked my ass. He was much bigger than me. But all the people in my weight class, I did pretty well against. And I began at one point studying another martial art, and right now, in this very moment, I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember what it's called, but I would love actually to get back to it at some point. In fact, Jiu-Jitsu I've never looked at or studied. I'm aware of it. I did once try practicing capoeira, and felt like a complete idiot. I mean, I was so uncoordinated. It's a combination of dance and martial art, essentially. It's martial art, but it's like a dance form of it. It's an amazing thing. It's incredible. You have to be incredibly agile and strong to be successful with capoeira. And I'd love to learn more of that. That would be very cool. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here to Instagram. I'm going to change the angle here so I can read a little better. Yovni says, "Hi, Loren. Thank you for share your knowledge. I want to ask you, how much should I wait to drink water after I eat a meal of fruit?" So it depends what you're eating, but generally speaking, I mean, first of all, the real answer is you want to listen to your body and wait until it leaves your stomach. The whole point of not drinking water with meals or immediately after is that we don't want to negatively impact our digestion. And so what we want to do instead is we want to make sure that we finish digesting before we put water on top of our digestive juices and dilute whatever's present. That's the whole point, okay? So melons, watermelon, other melons might digest in as little as 15 or 20 minutes, although some people can take more than an hour. And that's why, I could say, well, if you're eating melons, half an hour to be safe would be enough, but it might not be enough for some people. You have to really feel, is it still digesting in my stomach or is it already out of the stomach? Okay. And for some people, it's going to take some practice to really understand what's going on there. With heavier fruits, if you're eating bananas or durian or jackfruit or something else, you probably want to wait at least an hour for that to finish digesting your stomach. Again, for some people, it might be faster. And for some people, it might take much longer. Here, when people are refeeding with me, I ask them to wait for 45 minutes. Now, we only refeed with high water content fruits most of the time. And honestly, we probably should be telling people who are refeeding for a long time and could start eating things like bananas, you want to wait a little longer after something that heavy. But for most people, we ask them to wait 45 minutes. And there are times it probably would be better to wait a little longer. The problem is they need to get enough water in. And if we have them wait too long, it's going to be difficult for them to get enough water. And that's the reason why I'll ask them sometimes to wait just 45 minutes, even though maybe a little longer would be a little bit better. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. Let me see what else we have here on Instagram. I know we've had a lot of questions coming in there, and here, I should say, and I haven't been able to get to very many of them today. We are nature, exactly. We are part of Gaia. We're not separate from. Kurt Schaefer, photograph, says, would love to visit you, but flying anywhere, but especially from Cleveland, Ohio, with an effing mask on is unimaginable. Well, I've flown various times with masks on. It's actually not that big a deal. I mean, first of all, you can adjust your mask so that it's fairly loose. What I normally do, I carry fruit on flights with me. I always did, but it's even more important now. I'll also bring a bottle of water on, a big one or a couple of them. And what I'll do is I'll keep the mask down here. And every time someone comes by, I pick my bottle up. Sometimes I don't even take a drink. It's like, I'm just holding it to my mouth, putting it back down. I actually did drink there. But sometimes I'm just holding it to my lips so it looks like I'm drinking, because you don't have to have a mask on if you're eating or drinking. Now, what they're telling is, well, you should eat or drink quickly so you don't have to, don't have to keep your mask off. I don't personally, I use the thing to keep myself from having the mask on as long as possible. But even if you sit there with an hour, for an hour with a mask on, it's not the end of the world. I've got one of these crummy little shitty blue masks here that you probably don't ever want to use. I hate this thing, but you know what? Look, I've got a big nose. There's a big space there. I'm breathing perfectly fine. It's really not that big a deal. I mean, it feels stupid, and I hate the fact that I have to do this, but it's not that big a deal, really. I certainly wouldn't let the need to wear a mask prevent me from living my life. I'm there, they can dictate a mask, but they're not going to tell me I can't travel. Now, I mean, that's why we can't really go there, can we? Anyway, I personally wouldn't let that stop me from coming. It's the single most powerful and beneficial thing most people have ever done, and probably would be for you too, Kurt. So I'd say get over your fear of wearing a mask for a couple hours. It's not a big deal. Bring water, bring fruit, keep yourself from having to wear it most of the time. If you have to wear it, you have to wear it for a little while. It's not a big deal. Okay, you'll do perfectly fine. All right, let me take a look here. I'm going to start at the bottom right now. Lucky you guys. Does water fasting cure prostatitis and hemorrhoids? Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, I get questions all day long from all kinds of people about all kinds of conditions. And here's the one thing you want to understand, you want to remember. The body is self-healing, okay? Fasting is simply the best way to get out of the body's way so that anything that can heal will heal more efficiently and more effectively. That's what happens, without exception. Okay, we heal more efficiently and more effectively when we fast. And so if it's something that can heal, yeah. Can prostatitis heal? Yeah. Can hemorrhoids heal? Absolutely. Do they heal via fasting? They usually do. Now, your body is smart enough to put its energy into whatever's most important. So you won't necessarily heal in the order at the speed that you want to, because your body might say, you know what? There's something else going on here that you might not even know about that's way more important than that. And so it's going to focus on whatever's most important to the body. And it can do a lot of things at one time, but you won't necessarily heal in the order at the rate that you want to. That's something to be aware of. Okay? Bulgaria has the best fruit I have tried, and I have been in many, many countries. Okay? Well, I'd be willing to bet that it's not better than the fruit in Costa Rica, but you know, it's an opinion. That's good. I mean, if you live in Bulgaria or can get there, that's great. There's an answer for the person in Europe. I've been all over the world too. And I mean, I've had great fruit in many places. Turkey in the summertime has amazing fruit. Okay. In the summertime, in the south of Turkey, you can get pretty high quality stuff year round, but I'd rather be here. There's no question about it. There's nothing like the tropics. That's where we belong. All right. Let me see here. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. I'm so glad you're all here with me. Raw Fruity Vibes. Nice to see you vibing. Bear asks me, have you ever had clients experience water intoxication while on a water-only fast? Yes, absolutely. And what we're talking about, water intoxication, I mean, water is not toxic. Water can't make you sick itself. But here's the thing. If we dilute our electrolytes, okay, we've got a problem. I mean, if we dilute them too much, we could actually die from it. And it does happen. I have a woman, I mentioned to you, a volunteer who's fasted with me a couple times and wants to fast again. I think at the end of October, in fact. And yet, the last time she fasted, her electrolytes went all wonky. And since then, we now have everyone test electrolytes before they begin fasting. So she tested her electrolytes 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, and they're wonky. Her sodium and chloride are way, way low. And so I've got her now drinking celery juice, which I'm not a fan of. Juices are not whole, natural, perfect foods. They're something else and far inferior, but it's very hard to get enough sodium or chloride from whole foods. And so I've got her drinking celery juice for the next month, and then we'll test her again beforehand, because if her sodium is as low as it is now, she can't safely fast. Okay, so we don't see a problem with this, by the way, unless one of a couple things happens. One, they are vomiting like 5 times a day for a while. 2, they're having watery stools for 5 times a day. 3, they are starting with low electrolytes. They're already out of balance and just need to be pushed over the edge. Then it's a problem. I'm sure this is what happened last time, is that she started off with her electrolytes out of balance and then they fell off the edge. Now the question is, why is this happening? Because they got her electrolytes balanced. She's been eating optimally. They're out of balance again. How is that? There's something going on that shouldn't be happening, and we don't know what it is. But we're going to have to keep an eye on her electrolytes very closely. The only other thing that happens is someone sweating too much, and that happens when they go out in the sun while they're fasting, for instance. They should be resting as completely as they can. So we've got a call that I need to jump on here in just a minute. I've got one more super chat. It's again, I don't think so. Thanks again. Another $10 contribution. The Stoics advocate making yourself extremely uncomfortable for brief periods. Jiu-Jitsu in order to become comfortable in the long run. Yeah, I'm familiar with that theory. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think we have to do that. But you know, it's one. There's lots of perspectives and one view, and if this works for you, fantastic, good for you. All right, I'm going to have to go. What are your most typical symptoms of detoxing, water fasting to eliminate? Do fasting or afterwards during refeeding? You eliminate all the time. You eliminate most of the old hard material only while refeeding. Typical symptoms, most typical symptoms, there's a whole range of symptoms. It's impossible to answer that question because it varies from person to person. I mean, most people are going to feel weak and tired, but there's a whole range of things that occur, and they occur depending on your specific situation. So I can't answer that. What I would encourage you to do, sweet love healing, is come fast with me. Come spend a month or more with me, and I'll guarantee you in writing that you'll leave here healthier than you've been in decades, if not ever. Assuming, of course, assuming that you can follow simple directions. That's the key. All right, folks, I've got to go. I've got a 10 o'clock call that started without me. I've got to go get on it. I've got people waiting for me here to finish that call as soon as possible. So I will see you next week. If you speak Spanish, I will be live tomorrow, same time in Spanish. And remember, I've shared with you a couple links here today. If you are ready to come experience real paradise, feel and function better than ever, I mean, A, you can come fast with us. B, you can come to the Fruit Festival. C, you can come to the Fruit Festival, then stay to fast afterward. That's an amazing option. And if you're ready to live here, check out LasCascadas.org. One more thing, if you're ready to learn exactly how to take, if you've learned anything here today, has this been beneficial to you? If this has been beneficial to you, do me a favor, give me a like or a thumbs up, okay, depending on which platform you're on. Go ahead and do that if you think this has been useful and beneficial to you. If not, that's okay. But if if it has been, hey, share the love. Let me know, right? Consider sharing this recording, this link on your own pages, on your Facebook page, on your YouTube, whatever. Consider sharing it, because I think there's information here that a lot of people would benefit from. Maybe you can share that along. If you've learned something and you'd like to learn a lot more, go to the Academy for VibrantLiving.com, where I offer 2 courses, guaranteed. I mean, the first one is called Vibrant Health. That's the one you need to take your own health to an amazing level. The second one is health coaching, if you want to become a certified health coach and learn how to, not only help as many people as other people as possible, but also have a successful business doing it. Okay, I've supported myself now for a long time as a health coach. You can too, and it's incredibly rewarding because you're constantly having people, you're seeing these amazing things happen, having people very grateful for it. So if you want to do that, academyforvibrantliving.com. And I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.